I felt like I wanted to come out here and make a video today about what happened in Buffalo, because I think it's more important than anything else I do is to speak on that, especially as a white male. And interestingly enough, I've felt like this since I was a little boy. When I was a white boy, I always felt the need to speak out, and it's been difficult for me, honestly. And in many ways, I tell people a lot that in many ways theater saved my life a lot, because I was able to put those feelings into art, turn it into something beautiful, and kind of get it out of my personal life. Because it was difficult, because I'm probably the angriest person you know. And people have called me such. Anyway, I just wanted to speak on it because I just wanted to say, as a white male, that I am disgusted. I can't even find the words that are strong enough to explain how I feel. Infuriated. I'm like filled with rage, disgusted, embarrassed for this country, confused that people can be that evil, and that I'm no longer calling them crazy, because there are too many of them. This white replacement thing, this pedophile thing, like all this craziness, it's not crazy anymore. And so I guess I just wanted to come on here today. And, again, as a white man, tell all my friends of color, all my black friends, my Latino friends, my Asian friends, like all my people who are not white, that I love you. And I will continue to dedicate every day of my life to fighting against this murderous, tragic evil. I mean, it's a white person's problem. Racism is a white person's problem. And, I've always been one who felt like black people cannot be racist towards white people. Somebody who I grew up with, who I was pretty close to growing up, slipped into my personal email one day, my direct message, whatever, on Facebook, after I ranted something about some, another black person murdered by police or whatever, and he felt the need to tell me that he thought I was racist towards white people. And so I just blocked him. I pushed him out of my life, because, I realized that, I haven't dealt with him in many, many years, but I wanted him out of my life, because he's one of these people. Because the thing is, if you're black in this country, you can't be racist against white people. You can only be side-eyed, questioning, afraid in some cases. Maybe you're not afraid, but you certainly have to question every single white person that you see. It's like being a deer in the woods. When you see a human being with a gun, you don't, it doesn't make you, hating human beings because you're afraid of this person with a gun who's probably going to shoot you and hang you up on their wall or have you for dinner. It is our history. It's what this country is based upon, this white supremacist notion, this ridiculous notion, this disgusting notion. So anyway, today I went somewhere. I actually had to go to the dentist today. And I got there really early, and there's a beautiful lake behind the office that I went to. And it really gave me some peace to be around nature for a couple of hours. And, I took out my camera and I shot some stuff. And I guess it made me feel a little grounded, because I feel a little out of control. You know what I mean? Like I feel all discombobulated because there's not a cell in my body that thinks that this is going to stop. that thinks it's going to get better. You know, I just don't believe it. I think there are too many racists in this country. And now, you know, I once heard a celebrity who I won't mention because maybe she doesn't want to be attributed to this, but I once heard her ask the question, when will racism end? And she said, when all the old racists die out. Because then they can't pass it on to their children and their grandchildren. But the thing is, all of these murders are young people. I mean, this dude was 18 years old. He had a manifesto. I mean, he was very clear on what he wanted to do. He passed Rochester and Syracuse to get to Buffalo because it was a more black city. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I have nothing to offer here other than what I said before, that this message is for my black friends, that I will never sit still and be comfortable about this. I will never use my privilege to go, you know what, can I not think about this for one day? I will never do that. I promise you, I swear on my life, I will never take a moment to not keep this in the forefront of my head and my heart. And I wish that everybody that I knew who was white would do the same. But I don't know what to do. You know, I'm an artist. I worked for 6 years on a play that was based on the Sean Bell shooting in 2006. And we had some really valuable discussions about white privilege and racism and gentrification and all the things. You know, it was really valuable. We had Q&As after every show for 5 years. You know, I had a program for gun survivors. You know, I became close with Sean Bell's family. It was probably the greatest honor of my life to work on this show for all those years, for over half a decade. But did it really do anything? Because, you know, I also had equal parts people going, you know, who are you? You know, this is white boy talking about white privilege. You know, I mean, I got criticized. You wouldn't believe some of the messages I would get about that play. You know, as if I shouldn't speak out about it, as if I shouldn't try to create art to raise awareness towards such things. Like it's a bad thing. But I get it, you know? I get it. But I feel like that's the most important work that I've ever done. But I don't know if it did anything. I don't know if it means anything. I don't know. You know? I do feel like people do respond to art more than anything else. You know, more than politicians, more than activists. I feel like when you can get a bunch of people into a theater space together, or any kind of sacred performance space together, people from all over the place who believe in all kinds of different things. And if you create these beautiful characters that they fall in love with and a story that they can relate to, which is what Brooklyn Quartet was, I do believe you can transform people, at least for that moment. And maybe that can build, you know, maybe that can continue a movement towards a more fair-minded person who perhaps didn't feel that way before. I don't know. That's certainly my intention, but I don't know. And so I'm so angry, you know, I can't even imagine what it's like to be 86 years old and walk into a supermarket and stare down the barrel of a gun and be shot and killed. And then what must it be like for that family? And you know, most of these people were on the elderly side. Like, can you imagine getting through your whole life, especially as a black person, being basically abused by this country for your entire lifetime, and then dying at the hands of an 18-year-old asshole who walks into a supermarket and decides to just shoot people up, who passes by one guy who's white and says, oh, sorry, and keeps going and looks for more black people? Like, who are these people? Like, what? Yeah, it's just, it's horrific. It's despicable. If I were black, I don't know how I could not want to just, you know, respond in kind. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, you know what? I have so much envy for people who really have faith, who really believe in God and believe in their church and who come together. I've had more black people close to me in my life than white people for my whole life. And the families that I was involved with were always so joyful and so happy and had so much energy and exuberance and laughter and, joy. And I always thought to myself, how do you do that? I'm so angry. I find it hard to find that kind of joy. How do you do that, being a target all the time, being disrespected all the time, being held back all the time? But my experience has been that these families that I have personally been close to, Sean Bell's family is a great example, Mr. and Mrs. Bell, and every event that they've invited me to and being around them, these people are like pure love, pure joy. They invited me to their church. I've been to the Sean Bell Center. And their son was murdered by police officers. He was unarmed, leaving his bachelor party. How do you maintain your joy after that? People can't maintain their joy after losing a child to a car accident or cancer or whatever. But imagine murder due to being black, just racism. And it's not just that, it's like white people, like on this side of the fence, these white supremacists, they hate everybody. A guy goes into a Chinese church the other day and kills a bunch of Chinese people. The anti-Semitism, the anti-Semitic tropes that I hear all the time still. So, anyway, I think I've spoken long enough. I just kind of needed to get this out of my body. And I've always, anybody who knows me knows that I've been about this my whole life. And I will remain about this issue until I die, because I know it's not going to change. I know it's not going to get better. I know it. I know that this is going to be a fight. And it might wind up being the end of us as a country. Look what's happening. There are like people in suits who are lawyers and who are in government, who've been elected officials, who are supposedly these respected people. There are news people, people on TV, like, people who you would think have some kind of intelligence, some kind of empathy, some kind of, common sense, who are as bad as this guy who shot everybody. Because they put him there. They put him there. He's 18 years old. He was placed in that store. Anyway, that's it for today. And to all you who feel the pain that I feel and feel the rage and who are walking around with this fire in their body, I send my love to you. And all we can do is continue to fight and continue to bring it up. And by the way, if you're sitting at your dinner table with your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your girlfriend, your wife, your uncle, whatever, and they spew out any kind of racism, say something. Because, believe it or not, you are the only person that actually might get through to them. Somebody who they love, somebody who is their family. They're not going to listen to anybody else. They're certainly not going to listen to me. Say something. It's your responsibility. If you don't say something, you're part of the problem. Speak out. Artists, make art about it. Just try everything. Because it's not going to change. We're here. We're in it. We're always going to be in it. Just protect these people who are under siege. You know, protect them, protect black people, protect women, protect Latinos, protect Asian people, protect Jews, protect people who are under siege. Whatever scenario you might witness, maybe it's somebody who's just homeless, protect them somehow. Do something. Or at the least, tell the people in your life who are not white that you care and that you love them and that they matter to you and that this is like inconceivable to you that this can continue to happen. Like, let them know how much you need them.